Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight is Tuesday, January 11th, 7:30 p.m. Tonight we have the Planning and Zoning Commission general meeting and a public hearing. I think, right? No public hearing tonight. Sorry about that. Tonight, myself, Stephen O'Bani, Fred Donite, and Jeremy Ginsburg are here in Town Hall. And the meeting is also being held virtually over GoToMeeting as per the governor's orders that hopefully end soon, but we are what we are. Hopefully everybody's still healthy and we are still have, COVID protocol here in Town Hall. So let's get right into it. The first item in the general meeting is amendment of special permit number 11R, parentheses 2, Oxford Riding and Racquet Club at 512 Middlesex Road, request for installation of solar panels on the roof of the riding arena building. Jeremy, what do we got? Oh, Fred, what do we got? Sorry.
This is an amendment.
I'm going to.
Oh, hold on. Yes, sir.
I'm going to recuse myself and be back shortly.
Thank you, Mr. Riley. I can text you if I'm to when you come back, or you can close your camera and listen to mute. Thank you, sir.
So this is an amendment to the club's original special permit for the property. The applicant had originally submitted a building permit to the Planning and Zoning Office.
Excuse me, Steve?
Yes, sir.
We can't hear Fred, or we can't hear him through his microphone. He's muted.
Okay. What I want to do, I'll shut off my speaker, and then you can turn on your microphone.
Thanks.
My speaker's on, and my microphone's on, so you should be on and on.
There we go. So this is an amendment to the club's original.
Just make sure they can hear.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Great. So this is an amendment to the club's original special permit for the use of the club on the property. The applicant had originally submitted for a zoning and building permit for the installation of solar panels on one of the barns on the property. Staff advised the applicant at that time that they would be required to come before the Planning and Zoning Commission for an amendment to their special permit for a couple reasons. One being concerns of the adjacent neighbors on Saddle Ridge Road, and the requirement, or not requirement, but additional desire or need for landscaping, planting of trees between Saddle Ridge Road and the club property to mitigate any sort of visual impacts and activities that are occurring on the club property. So as part of this proposal, which includes the installation of solar panels on the roof, the applicant is also offering to do planting, and they've submitted a landscape plan for the commission's review this evening. We have the applicant Craig Harrington and Michael Tarzian of 64 Solar, the contractors that would be putting the solar panels on the roof here tonight. Guys, if you could provide the commission with a summary of what specifically you're proposing to do, that would be great.
Sure. Do you guys care if I share my screen?
Welcome, gentlemen. And I take it someone from the Racquet and Riding Club is also here too, Fred? Okay.
They might be. Is Philip on here? Okay. Phil.
Yeah,
Mr.
Philip
Terzi.
Thompson is on the line from the Riding and Racquet Club, and also an
Your
adjacent
screen
neighbor to
light
the
is
property.
on, but if you're speaking, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Craig Harrington, are you here? There's Craig.
Yep.
Craig, go
I'm
ahead,
here.
sir.
Well, we have Mike on the line, who's the engineer. He had just
My speaker's
he's
off.
gonna-
Is your speaker?
Yeah,
What's that?
I'm not sure if Stephen can hear us, because I can hear Phil and Craig, but I can't. I don't think Stephen can hear us.
I'm going to turn my speaker. I'll turn my speaker on, okay? Mr. Harrington, welcome. Or Mr.
Thank you.
Charzy, we can hear. I can hear you now. Go ahead. Who's going to speak, gentlemen?
Yeah, Mike.
I can present. Stephen, do you care if I share my screen?
We'd love you to share your screen.
Great.
I don't know how to do that, but you do.
I do. I'm doing it now.
Okay.
Okay. So let me know if everyone can see this. So as Stephen was saying, or Fred was saying, we proposed to do a building permit for this project. It got flagged to come to the Planning and Zoning Commission. I do not believe this is the first time it's been here. In the original proposal for the Oxford Riding Link, looking at the minutes and stuff, it does look like solar was always made to be on this project, and I have those minutes and a presentation that was done back in 2017 originally. Anyways, we applied. We're now going through you guys now. This is what we're proposing to put up there. These are the solar panels on the roof. There's a few other images that I have on this presentation that you guys can see as well. When we first applied, there was a note about glare, to which we replied to that. This is the letter that we sent to you guys, kind of just talking about glare on the solar panels. I believe you guys all should have a copy of that. If you guys need one, just let me know and I can send that over to you too. As Fred and Stephen said, me and Craig want to put these panels up. 64 Solar wants to put these panels up, and if doing a small plantation for the site helps to kind of alleviate the concerns with the neighbors and stuff, we are kind of just going out of our way to plant those things to make things better there. This is the overall site. At the top right, you can kind of see where the property boundaries are of the site, and then you zoom in here, you can kind of see it a little bit closer. This is approximately where the panels would go. Here's another zoomed in shot of what that would look like. This is the current property, the tax maps basically around that. The panels are on there. This is the racking that we would be using. They're very small clamps. They basically go to the metal roof and they stick to the bottom of the roof. That's to like alleviate like squirrels or something getting underneath there. So we like them to be very flush with the roof. Let's see, here's some building elevations. So from the west view of the building, this is what you would see. You can kind of see even here how flush they are to the roof. Same thing on the east side of the building. From the south end of the building, which is where the neighbors would see, this is approximately what the array would look like. You probably wouldn't see it that close. This is probably closer to what it would look like if you were standing on the ground, because the panels are basically at a very low pitch. You see very little of them even from the ground. And then here's another image of what that might look like. And then this is what it would look like from a 3D shot, although none of you guys would be able to see that image quite like this, just because you'd have to be in the air flying around or something to see it like that. The equipment, this is the electrical equipment from this site here. You can see our panels would be installed here. The electrical equipment kind of gets installed down here at the bottom, and that image there is what we're showing. That's the equipment that would get installed on the side of the building. And then, as Fred and Stephen said, this is the landscaping plan. So you've got panels up on the roof here. This is like the overview up here. We'd be planting here. We'd be planting here. And we'd be planting here. You might notice that these trees are pretty far away from the solar panels, so you might be asking why those trees were getting planted. Honestly, that is just to smooth things over with the neighbors. I think that they were upset about some of the obstructions here in the barn and some of the obstructions over here. So we just added some trees there and around this barn. This is really the only planting here that actually shows where the panels would go, and you can kind of see that superposition here. So from the street and where the neighbors might be, there's these openings, these small openings, and we just were going to fill those openings up with trees. And then again over here where the barn is, even though we're not putting panels over here, I think there's some obstructions over here that the neighbors were concerned about, so we're just putting some trees around that. And then the same thing down here, same exact, this opening here also looks down into this barn. It seemed like there was some issues with some of the obstructions over here by the barn, and we were going to put some trees there as well. I think that might be it. Yeah. So that's the overview of what we'd be installing. Yeah, we're going to put the panels here. We're adding some trees.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, there's no glare.
What questions can we answer?
The biggest question I have is, can you go back to the where the equipment's going to be? I've done a lot of these projects on buildings that I've worked on. And
Yeah,
the
sure.
biggest thing is the battery packs and the equipment and the generators and where all the electricity goes when it's being quote unquote stored, if that's the case. And
Yeah, so there's no
it's going to be
battery.
it's a big plus.
No batteries or generators on the site. The electrical equipment that be installed are the inverters that convert the power from DC to AC. And then there's a combiner panel, and this is a fire disconnect for firefighters to be able to pull in case there's the event of a fire. And where that equipment would be, you can kind of see it from this image here. Our equipment would get mounted right around there. And so the trees would block any obstruction of that. If you did get past the trees, though, what that would look like is this. This looks, this is like a very zoomed in image of it. In real life, it's probably about the size of 2 humans long ways.
Okay, so in terms of length and width, how long is it?
So probably about 15 to 18 feet, and height usually no higher than 6 feet because we need to be able to operate it. So again, that's why on this projection here, this is by far the tallest we'd be because that truck is pretty high up already. So it would probably come down to here.
What about
it protrudes about a foot, probably about a figure 12 to 16 inches off the wall. So they're mounted to the wall of the building. They stick out about 16 inches. There's some fencing or there's a screen there now. You're probably not going to be able to see it.
You can see, you
anymore.
can see that. Sorry. So what Craig's talking about is this fence here.
Right.
You can see the fence there. So it very likely wouldn't be taller than that. And even if it was, it'd probably be only protruding maybe this much out of the fence.
Correct.
Oh. So you're not sending any power back to the grid, or you're not?
We are. So there's a meter inside this cabinet over here. You see this cabinet right here? There's a meter inside there. We're tying into that. And so the meter right now only spins forward. When we're done tying in, the meter will spin forward and it'll spin backwards.
Right. So it will be a net metered project on the event that in the early morning hours or, when the sun's up in the summer, it'll be pushing power back to the grid at that particular point. But then it's sized so that it meets or comes close to the annual usage of the club. It won't get there at 100%, but it's pretty close.
You're not. I mean, just curiosity. You're not storing any power, so on rainy days it has.
No, you're getting so that in effect the grid is the backup for that. So even though all those that power gets sent back into the grid, the club still gets credit in their utility kilowatt hour bank. So if they send 1,000 kilowatt hours back, at a time that they're not using it, they draw upon that at night or on a rainy day.
Well, okay.
The only thing they don't have is sustainability in case of a power blackout. Power blackout, the system has to go down.
So basically, during the day, they provide more power than they need, and then at night, they use that power. It's like a credit on their meter. Or on sunny days, it'll produce more than it will on rainy days, and so you use those credits on those rainy days. Same thing with summertime versus wintertime. It'll produce more in the summer than it will in the winter. And so the meter will hold credits for the end user, and then they get their energy that way.
Okay. Fred, any other questions relative to the landscape before I open up to the other commissioners? That's your understanding that he's going to rain?
Yeah, the main concern was to fill the hole in the landscaping to buffer those visual impacts and the activities of the club, like I mentioned previously. Unless commission members have any additional questions, I'll be open it to the public.
Well, it's a general meeting item. It's a general meeting item, so it's really not a public hearing, but Adam, have any questions, or Jim, or Kara? Go ahead, Kara. Kara's hands up.
I guess, I don't know if this is for the applicant or for the staff, maybe just from, if I can better understand, and because the applicant did raise that it was already contemplated. So if this was already contemplated as part of the original approval, why do you need the amendment to the special permit for this?
You want to take it? Yeah, go ahead.
You know, Carol, we've been working with Mr. Tarzian and his group over there, and I do not recall exactly when the commission approved the changes to the club, whether that was included on it. Certainly, he references the minutes and the discussion, so maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Again, I don't remember. Arguably, it was 5 years ago, quite a while ago. So we wanted to bring this back to the commission. So you're at least aware of it. I did talk to Steve about that. And so we agreed, bring it back before the commission so you're aware of what's going on. These plantings would certainly be new, and were not offered 5 years ago, but it's a nice, because when the club was done, this big project, it became clear to the neighbors that there were some gaps, if you will, some areas that could be better landscaped. So I think this will assist in trying to minimize those impacts.
But plantings part of the original, was that a requirement as part of the original approval?
No, these trees were not.
Yeah, yeah, we're just going before, because that, like he said, it was a submission from a long time ago, so we're just bringing it back now.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure it's a general meeting.
It's like, you know, is this viewed as something that will increase intensity of use or have some sort of impact on neighbors? Is that why it's coming before the commission? Because otherwise.
Meeting got the zoning and building permit submitted in December. Or this is an amendment of a special permit use. As you know, these clubs, country clubs, riding clubs, are special permit uses in residential zones. They've said, look, I'm uncomfortable approving it administratively.
Okay.
I'll discuss it with Steve. Steve said, let's bring it before the commission as a general item, so the commission's aware of what's going on. Since we've been working with Mr. Tarzan and his team on these trees that you see on the screen.
Thank you, Jeremy. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Adam, any questions, sir? Good. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Thumbs up. Perfect. Jim Ray, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I don't want to prejudge what any members of the public might or might not say, to the extent anybody's here, to raise issues with this application. I was approached, I don't know, a month ago, maybe 6 weeks, by a resident of, what is it, Saddle Ridge?
Saddle Ridge Road, yeah.
Whose name I regret I can't remember, but who expressed concern about the what do you call these damn things? On the grounds that certain undertakings contained in the original approval were not addressed by the applicant, specifically plantings. And I didn't go back to the original approval, nor did I try to figure out whether this individual who approached me was, her statements were accurate or inaccurate. But I'd like to know if staff can tell us, was everything done before the certificate of occupancy was issued? Or are there things left undone? In which case, I think we ought to consider some provision that would ensure that the plantings are in fact installed. Maybe that's a question for Jeremy more than anybody else, but.
Sure, Jim. I do know that the certificate of occupancy was issued on this building. I do know that the neighbors had continuing concerns. Amongst them is the Oxridge horse trailer. It's generally parked behind, I think it's this building, it might be the building next to it. And you can see it, I believe in one of the photos, it shows it and just says Oxridge, I think it's on sheet 3 in the bottom left. When you drive down Saddle Ridge Road, you can see that trailer driving down the road. And I think some of the neighbors, are saying, that really should be better screened. I think the proposal in this application does do a better job over and above the commission's previous approval in adding plantings, which would be shown on sheet 4, to help screen that trailer, which is usually there.
But it's not illegal to have the trailer there.
I guess that's what's in dispute. Again, it's a riding club.
Right, you have to have a trailer.
You have to have a trailer for the horses. You have to have horses, and they have to go somewhere on the.
Right.
So certainly, there was no prohibition by the commission that the trailer can't be put there.
Yeah.
But parking the trailer there wasn't shown on the plans. And Mr. Keating's opinion was there's no prohibition against it.
Right.
So I can't really enforce it. I can ask the club to move it or find a better location.
But now we're putting in trees to block that thing anyway.
I think in some ways, these trees certainly can't hurt. Hopefully will be helpful. But the building does have a CO.
Hey, Jim?
Yeah, I wasn't aware, well, perhaps I ought to keep my mouth shut until, if there's any member of the public that wants to comment, see what they have to say.
We always listen to the public regardless, but this is not a public hearing, but we will allow them to chime in too. Who else do we have? We heard Jeff Ball. Any questions on this one, sir? Where's Jeff Ball? There he is. Jeff Ball's got a thumbs up. He's good. So we got everybody, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Okay. Just as a courtesy, would anyone in the general public like to speak to this item? You can wave your hand, you can smile, you can tweet, you can wave. Okay. Okay. So with that said or not said, anything else? You're all set, right, Mr. Terazier and the other gentleman? I lost your name.
Yeah, that was it for us. Yeah.
Craig Harrigan. Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll get the the plantings. We'll take care of that to be sure. We're not going to shirk our responsibilities on that.
The only thing we have to do is make sure we have the right timeline to put the plantings in, so we don't get caught in the planting season thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's got to be some levity. Obviously, we'd like to do that into the spring or early summer when the plants can really take off at that particular point. I don't think it needs to be rushed at this particular moment, but it will get done.
I don't think so either. And I think you probably want to get it done before the 4th of July and wait till in March 15th after St. Patrick's Day when the ground's still frozen.
It's a little chilly out there right now.
Yeah. Okay. So we can take a quick vote on this since it's a general meeting. So entertain a motion to approve this as submitted. Carrie Gaines make the motion. Jeff Ball made the second. All those in favor? It's 5-0. Fantastic. Great. Good luck, gentlemen. Thank you for bringing more solar to Darien. We appreciate that.
Great.
Thank you. Appreciate your time. Have a good evening.
You got it.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is special permit application number 47D as in David, Darien Community Association, the DCA at 247 Middlesex Road. Request for 5 front-load events in 2022. And I saw the benevolent Amy Bell in the house. Amy Bell is here. Can we get rid of this other plan off the screen? The guy just left with, he's still sharing our screen. How do we get rid of him? Can you unchair him? Okay. Yeah, Amy, what's happening?
Hi, Steve. How are you?
Great, thanks. Jeremy's gonna give us a heads up on what's going on.
Commission members, in your packet, the December 8, 2021 letter from Amy Bell, who's the Executive Director of the Darien Community Association. As you know, the DCA at 274 Middlesex Road is a long-time institution here in Darien, and they are a special permit use in that zone. And Amy's aware of numerous P&Z approvals, which limits and restricts what the DCA can do with their property, similar to the property we just discussed about at the Oxbridge Club. In this case, this is somewhat of a COVID-related request because what Amy has found is, generally, other than very, very cold days in January, people want to be outside for events. And so as she anticipates booking events, no matter what they are, she's hoping to get some commitment from the commission on a number of events that she can offer to potential clients to have those events outside. And as you can see, the 2021 accommodation the commission allowed up to 5 front lawn events in 2021. Amy is in this letter put some caveats in on what restrictions and limits they would want other than the typical hour restrictions. And those are obviously a police officer on site, the DCA employed house supervisor on site, evening curfew. What they've also, based on their consideration of neighbors, the request would exclude certain teenage type events, and the events would be more weddings and other events for adults who might be considered to be more respectful and probably stay within the areas, et cetera, et cetera.
Wait a second, you say teenagers are respectful?
Yeah, adults are, I guess, but again, Amy can speak to that. Amy is stuck with, in terms of enforcing whatever limits and restrictions they have. But so what we explained to Amy, and you can see we put it on the agenda for 2022, and I think what Amy might want is 2 years, which would give her the chance as she speaks with people who are booking events in 2022 to also get her possibly events in 2023. Kind of a 2-year, let's call it trial, whatever you will, 2-year commitment from the commission that she can then use and then come back to the commission in a year and a half or so. Based on that, we'll see how things go. But I think that's a very fair way to allow for renting of the facility and allowing them to stay solvent and while still being able to offer that beautiful front lawn for various events, which I know you've used that front lawn for many years, Amy, Easter egg hunts, things like that. Anything I didn't hit on in the description?
No, and we appreciate the opportunity to come before the commission. I'm also joined by Laura Bolton, our catered events coordinator, is on with us tonight as well, and we're happy to answer any questions. Just to your point, Jeremy, the on the time frame, the booking lead time for a wedding tends to be about 18 months, so that's why we're asking for consideration to go into 2023 as well, just because of the lead time for an event such as that. And we did have, we appreciate the opportunity. We hosted 3 events last year, and as you stated, we've been around for a long time. Like many nonprofits, its last couple of years have been a struggle. So the rentals business, which is a key part of our revenue, it was great to be able to have that in our range of offerings for people who are considering events, who wanted to be outdoors, who wanted to be able to know that they could go through with an event during COVID. So we really appreciate the flexibility to be able to do that, and would love to continue it because I think this is going to be with us you know, in one form or another for some period of time.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just Amy, I hear most of the stuff that happens in town from you or planning. Were there any issues at all at any outdoor events last year?
The reason, if you're wondering about the teenage exclusion, we had 2 weddings. We had 1 event with kids, and the music that I guess I should say, I'm going to sound very old, but the taste in music with teenagers tends to project more than we're comfortable with. So that particular event, the music was too loud, so that's why we took that off the table for consideration in this new request. It's just a different, it's you know, the music tends to project more than what we're comfortable with.
And as a matter of I guess, policy, you, as the DCA, always notifies the neighbors in advance when you're going to have a wedding or have a big outdoor event too, right?
When we have an outdoor, yeah, something like this, when we've gone before you or had permission to do something out of the ordinary, if we have a wedding inside in our garden wing, we don't do that. But when we're in anything that's out of the norm, we do.
You tell the neighbors in advance, like there's going to be a
Yes.
wedding or something. That's what I thought.
Yes.
Okay, that's cool. And I mean, I think I never heard anything, last year, during the COVID year, and we're glad everybody got through COVID unchanged, but COVID's still here and it's not getting any worse. So I think this would be a great thing to add to your menu of options. Any questions from any commissioners on this general meeting item? Kara's saying no. Adam's okay. Got a thumbs up. George Riley, you're cool. Jeff Ball, you're all right. And who am I missing? Adam. Where's Adam? Adam, where'd you go? There he is. There he is. Great. Looks like you got 6 thumbs up, Amy.
Okay.
With that said, could I just get a quick straw poll? I'll make a motion. Kara just made the motion to approve as submitted. Jeff Ball and Adam and George Riley all thirded. All those in favor? 6-0. Good luck, Amy. Thank you for doing everything you do there. The place is great.
Thank you. Thank you, Stephen. Just to clarify, so 2 years, and then we come back to you in 1.5 years. Okay.
Yep. I got
Wonderful.
married in 6 months, but I was not the norm.
Okay. Thank you so much.
See you, buddy. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Have a good evening.
Thank
You too. All right, next item on the agenda, we're going to go into deliberations only on the following items. I'm only going to do one at a time.
Let's do one at a time again.
Kara Gately's going to recuse herself.
I'll recuse myself. Thanks. Bye, guys.
Hey, Kara, do you want me to text you when we come back to talk
That would
about
be
the
great.
affordable housing?
Yep.
You got
That'd
it.
be perfect.
Go make dinner.
Okay, yeah, I already did that, but thanks. Goodbye.
For the boys, man.
I made them breakfast for dinner. They're good. Goodbye. Bacon. Everyone loves bacon. Goodbye.
There you go. Okay, so I'm going to open up the first one. You got the green sheets for us.
Talk a little bit about that, but you and I discussed the fact that the hearing is closed, so we can't take more input from the applicants, experts, or the public. This is solely for the 5 commission members who are here.
And if
Monica McNally, ex officio, is here as well.
is she here? Oh, she is
To
here.
deliberate on this application.
Fantastic. Okay.
And then the way it works is staff will basically take the comments received and the commission will vote at a subsequent meeting. The commission has 2 months, 65 days, basically, from the close of the hearing to make a final vote on this.
And the hearing
And
closed.
certainly, as you said, the first step is the zone change.
Okay.
I'll let you read the agenda item. And we'll take it next.
Thank you, sir. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the proposed amendments to Darien Zoning Map, COZM number 2-2021, 3 Parklands Drive, put forth by Parklands Darien LLC. Proposal to apply the design office multifamily residential overlay zone, DOMR, to the subject property and to permit multifamily residential dwellings as a principal use required by special permit. The 3.915 plus or minus acre subject property is located on the southern end of Parklands Drive, approximately 1,100 feet south of its intersection with Old Kings Highway North, and is shown on Assessor's map number 35 as lot number 34 unit number 2 in the designed office zone, DO zone. So Jeremy gave us the green sheets, which he can explain. But relative to this, we created this overlay zone 2 years ago.
Surprisingly, I was reading through the minutes, June 2021, 6 months ago, basically. The commission had hearings earlier in the spring of 2021. The vote was in June of 2021 to create this DOMR, this overlay zone, which could overlay on designed office properties such as Parklands Drive, designed office zone. So that was fairly recent, 6 months ago. And at that point, the regulations were changed to create this district, but it didn't quote unquote land on any property as part of that proposal. So now the applicant has come to the commission with a request to take that overlay zoning district, which was created in 2021, and place it upon this 3.9 acre subject of property. And
so the design office overlay zone can only affect design office properties. Back when we did this, there's probably a handful of other properties that are in the zone, which one is the Thorndale Circle Office Park, which the Nielsen family or the Nielsen companies owns. They were in support of it. The 2 buildings on Tokenique Road, which is 100 and 120, falls within the design office zone. And then another building known as 85 Old Kings Highway, which is across the street from the Darien Old Kings Highway Tennis Center. And I think Old Kings Highway Tennis Center might be in that too. Something like this close. But the point being is those are all older office buildings that were built in a different generation. The majority of some, Thorndale Circle is doing good today. One of the office buildings on Tokenique Road is empty. The other one's full. And I think the 85 Old Kings Highway has got a big vacancy in it. After we created the zone, other towns like the city of Stamford just created a similar zone for their office parks. And Wilton, I did some work with the chairman for the Wilton Planning Zoning Commission, and they've got 2 projects that are the same exact thing, which are office buildings that are going to be converted to residential. So this is a prime site to do it.
the standard here is consistency with the town plan of conservation and development. You may recall during the public hearing, Bill Hennessy, Craig Terry, that question, 2016 Town of Darien Town Plan, which you have. They quoted a number of references in that document. You may recall the neighbors also quoted a number of references. So really the standard for the commission on changing the zoning regulation or landing a zoning boundary such as this would be consistency with the town plan. I also want to note for the record that during the public hearing process, you may recall, I think it was at the second hearing, we had received up to that point petitions signed by neighbors opposing this. We had that petition went through by town council and planning and zoning staff. It was determined that that petition did not rise to the level of that outlined in the state statute, which would change the trigger for the commission. So we would not consider that a valid protest petition as defined by the Connecticut statutes. It was a petition opposing with many signatures, but it wasn't enough to trigger that section of the statutes. So the commission before you tonight has this proposal to land this zoning overlay district onto the 3.9 acres. And the standard is consistency with the town plan of conservation and development. And then once you make this determination, yes or no, the commission can then move on to the special permit, site plan, and filling regrading application.
And I can tell you when we drafted the town plan of conservation development, I think, am I still the only person that's on the commission that did it? Is everybody on here? Is anybody else on here at 16? Might be the only guy. Jim Rand, were you on it back then we did the town plan?
I think so, yeah.
I think so too, right? Yeah. So this was definitely one of the things that we thought about when we created it. So with that said, let's just go around the horn. I was gonna start with Adam first. Any questions, comments on this one?
No questions for me right now. I think it's pretty straightforward.
Okay, George Riley?
No, I have no objection to this. I'm trying to think. I guess the key is whether or not we think it might be too intense a use, too many potential apartments, that kind of thing. But I do think it is consistent with the plan of conservation and development, and so I don't have a problem with that here. Nope.
Correct if I'm wrong, Jim, the second piece, the special permit, is got to go with the intensity of use.
Right. And I do want to mention that, I'm glad you mentioned that, George, because I think one of the things, as I was rattling this around in my head a little bit, I realized that the zoning regulation, the standards for developing in this DOMR zone have already been created. They're already in the zoning book. So it's not something the commission can change, the front yard setback, the side yard setback, any of the parameters, because the parameters are already created in the regulations. So as I was thinking about that today, I said to myself, really the standard for the commission is, do you want to drop that district onto the property, not whether you're willing to change any of the standards. But you're right, George, as we talk about the special permit, there are provisions in section 1005 that relate to intensity of use and other things, which we can talk about if there's a sense that the zoning overlay zone will have enough votes to pass.
Yeah, that's where this special permit comes in, because special permit gives us the wide latitude to change everything. Okay.
Again, thanks. Yep.
Okay. Jeff Ball, what are you thinking, sir?
I'm good with this part so far.
Great. Okay. Jim Rand?
I have a hypothetical question.
Sure.
If we were to approve this specific proposed amendment and the office project, for whatever reason, was not approved, have we shot ourselves in the foot? Would we have been better in retrospect not to take any action on this property until another application came along?
I'm going to let Jeremy answer. I have my own opinion. I'm going to let Jeremy answer that first.
And what you're saying, Jim, is waiting for a different project on a different property to kind of see how a development under this zoning would work. Is that your question?
No, I'm talking about this specific property.
Right.
So the zoning change is predicated on the project. I mean,
No.
Well,
not legally, but that's the only, the applicant is requesting this change so that he can proceed with the application to develop the apartments, correct?
A project, not a specific project. They can put the zoning change there, the overlay district there, and propose to put in 12 townhouses. They could also put the zoning change there and propose to put 112 townhouses. They can do nothing.
Okay, if I'll try to restate my question.
It's okay.
If the amendment is approved and the apartment project is not approved for whatever reason,
right,
have we shot ourselves in the foot by taking action on the first, or are we no better off, no worse off? I'm just trying to make sure that we don't foreclose an alternative if the apartment project doesn't go through. I mean, maybe they don't get financing, maybe the sky falls. I don't know, but I just try to keep our options open.
Yeah, let me see if I can answer that, Jim. I think you're right. This is really a two-step process. So if the commission were to vote to land the overlay zone on the property, and the commission were to approve, let's play out the first hypothetical. The commission were then to approve a majority or all of the proposal you have before you on the site plan and special permit. The applicant could then continue on with his office use at 3 Parklands. It's a legitimate use in that zone. He can continue on with it and never take advantage of the approval he would be granted, or he could then proceed with the approval. Now, those would be his 2 choices, or come in with something totally different. I guess that would be a third possibility. If the commission were to, so that covers the hypothetical of commission approves the zone change, commission approves the site plan special permit. Let's take it the next step, which is commission denies the zone change as the next hypothetical. If the commission were to vote against the zone change, you'd have to come up with a reason why that change is not consistent with the town plan of conservation and development. At that point, you would also, because it's a pending application, the commission would be obligated to vote on the site plan special permit. I think in that case, because the zoning would not have changed, you would be able to say it doesn't comply with the zoning regulations because we didn't adopt the zoning, so we cannot approve the site plan special permit. So that's the second group of hypotheticals. The third group of hypotheticals is what you're talking about, Jim, which is the commission says yes to the zone change, saying basically, you know what, rezoning this property, landing that zone makes sense for this 3.9 acres in compliance with the town plan conservation and development. But let's now take up the specific site design and layout and the number of units, the height, the landscaping, the lighting,
Traffic.
traffic, parking, all those issues that were brought up during the 9 hours of public hearing presented by Craig Flaherty and Bill Hennessy and Bob Gillen and their experts. You may recall the town had peer reviewers and the neighbors had numerous concerns. Jim, your question is, could the commission adopt the zoning change and then say, you know what, we're not approving the site plan and special permit because under section 1005, which are the special permit standards in the regulations, we believe it doesn't meet 1005A because X, Y, and Z, or 1005D because of X and Y, and 1005D because the design is this. So the commission has to be, I'll call it methodical and detailed in its reasons, either positive or negative. So to summarize, Jim, I don't think it precludes you from adopting the zone change and saying either yes or no to the site plan and special permit, as long as you have legitimate reasons for doing so based on the record. I don't think that adopting the zone change would weaken your position for the site plan special permit either way, because that application and the details and the file and all the reports and studies and analyses, those have to carry the day based on the regulations. A very long answer to a very succinct question.
So we're not, you don't think we're shooting ourselves in the foot?
No, I don't think so, because I think in any case, the standard is quite different. And the standard for the special permit are really in the section 1005. And whatever the 5 of you think based on the evidence, you're gonna have to make specific findings relative to section 1005. I think what you're looking for on the zone change is, you know, generally could something go here in terms of consistency with the town plan and what the town plan says? I don't think you're weakening this at all. I think it's because of the 2 different standards and the volume of information in the record. You remember those hearings were quite lengthy. A lot of information was put in the record by both parties, as well as the town hired peer reviewers. So there's a lot of information that the commission has to take into consideration.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. I think we heard from everybody, right? We heard from me. Yeah, I think it's consistent with the town plan conservation development, and then all the other items relative to traffic and height and density and whatnot, that's a different discussion. So, straw poll, everyone, I think Adam gave me a thumbs up. I think Beth gave me a thumbs up. I think George Riley gave me a thumbs up, and Jim Rand is giving me a thumbs up. Okay. So can you draft, the intention is to draft an approval that lands this overlay zone on this property? Now, we're gonna open up the second one, the second item.
Do you want to read that?
Yeah.
Fucking believable. This is the
Can you mute your phone, ma'am? It's not a public hearing. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a site plan application number 309, special permit application number 42-I, land filling and regrading application number 516, Parklands Darien LLC, 1 Parklands Drive and 3 Parklands Drive. I'm going to read the whole street map so we're all on the same page. Proposal to raise the existing office building at 3 Parklands Drive, convert and redevelop the property as a multifamily residential consistent with the design office multifamily residential overlay zone DOMR regulations and perform related site development activities, including regrading of the property, installation of landscaping, lighting, and stormwater management. The applicant proposed to construct a 3-story multifamily apartment building with a total of 60 apartments, studios, 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, including 7 deed restricted affordable units. A total of 139 parking spaces will be created, 86 of which are proposed for exclusive use by residents of 3 Parklands Drive, and 53 of which are proposed to be shared with the adjacent assisted living facility at 1 Parklands Drive. Assessor's map number 35, lot 34, unit number 1. Improvements to 1 Parklands Drive are limited to sidewalk extensions, underground utilities, and parking-related improvements. 3 Parklands Drive is a 3.915 plus or minus acres. It is located at the southern end of Parklands Drive, approximately 1,100 feet south of the intersection with Old Kings Highway North, and is shown on Assessor's map number 35 as lot number 34, unit number 2, currently in the design office zone DO. Companion zoning map change proposed to be rezoned 3 Parklands Drive to design office multifamily residential overlay zone DOMR. The application materials are on file and available for review in the Darien Planning Zoning Office and online at darienct.viewpointcloud.com. One other note, I think I saw Monica McNally here. So I do want to recognize Monica as an ex officio member, if she ever wants to chime in. So Monica, if you are here and want to chime in, just, I guess, turn on your microphone and go ahead. I apologize I didn't ask you last time. Okay, so with that said, you want to start? You want me to start? You want somebody else to start?
Kind of give the background. You may recall at the very start of the public hearing process on this, I think it was Attorney Bill Hennessy said, you know what, the standards are in the Darien Zoning Regulation, section 1005, 1020, and for the regrading, section 850. And that's really what the commission's going to be working off of, especially section 1005, which are the special permit standards, which we've listed for the commission. So you can focus on those during these deliberations, because whatever decision the commission makes has to be related to those standards in the zoning regulations. So Steve, take it away.
Okay. The deal is they're going to knock down the office building and build an apartment building. My biggest concern is the size of the new project versus the size of the old project. Originally, when this thing came before us, they were going to add a third story to the existing building, basically keep the footprint and then change some things. one thing I want to make sure that we're all keenly aware of is this square footage that was and is going to be. We've had in our discussions, and I'll make sure we have this, in notes for next time, is that there's for office buildings, there's two sizes, and for apartment buildings, there's two sizes. One is the net rentable area of the building, which is how much office space is in there. And the other is the gross building area, which includes the parking, which is underneath. In an apartment building, it's the same thing. There's the net rentable area of the apartments. And then there's the gross building area, which includes the garage. We've heard numbers of 40,000 versus 85,000 and 60 versus 70. I know they have it, and I'm guessing it's in the application materials.
I'll have to get it for you out of the application materials.
Okay, that's fine. We can make sure we have that, because for argument's sake, if the average apartment size is 1,000 square feet and there's 60 of them, then it's obviously 60,000 square feet, and the office building's 40, you're going from 40,000 to 60,000. But if we're comparing 40,000 to 80,000, which includes a parking garage, that's really, you're talking about apples and oranges. The thing that I did not like about the project was, and I don't know if we ever figured it out, was the sidewalk that goes through. It goes right through what I want to call the fire pits and where the gas grills are, because that doesn't make it gated and secure. So if I'm coming from Old Kings Highway or Trader Joe's, walking down the sidewalk, then you walk through this guy's apartment complex. I've never seen that before in my history of looking at apartment buildings. We just walk through somebody's thing to get the thing on the other side. We did hear from the, we didn't really, I don't know if we heard from them directly, but we got the letters from the people that are at Selleck Woods, which are the Selleck Woods people and the Dunlap Woods and Parks and Rec. I think they're kind of happy about the new parking spaces they're going to get. I think they're kind of happy with the pergola they're going to get. There's been a bunch of discussion with regards to, what's going to happen to Dunlap and Parkland Woods. I never saw any evidence that anything's going to materially go wrong with that. I mean, I live behind me is a land trust, which after I've been there for my house with 20 some years, nobody really went into that land trust unless you're in the neighborhood. But then when COVID hit, everybody and their brother was walking dogs back there and riding bikes and all that stuff. There's no difference between there. We got, skunks and rats and deer and stuff like that back there. There is a bird sanctuary there too. But I've never seen anything that changes that. I know that adding multifamily and housing options to the town of Darien is something that we've been working on for years. I am very proud to say we've added something like over 300 multifamily units in our town. Since it's actually more than it's like 800 units in our town. We have another a set coming in the pipeline, which is about 300, which is Corbin, Palmer's, and Federal Realty. Those are in the pipeline. We do get a ton of pressure from the state of Connecticut to add multifamily. And what I've been advocating for years is that we want to be able to put multifamily where we want to, which can get totally trumped by 830G. 830G, people can put it whatever they want to. I think local control is what we want, and we want to be able to put it where we want it and how big it is and how small it is and whatnot. The part about the school kids, in a couple of years when the new Oxford schools open, the school districts are going to get redrafted anyway, where kids go to elementary school. I know one of my guys that I know lives on Birch Road. He drives his school past, he drives past Royal School every day to drop his kid off at Oxford, So that doesn't make any sense. When they built Avalon, the school kids got redistricted. The first Avalon kids went to home school, and then they went to Tokenique school. Now, actually, I don't even know where they go. I think they went to home school first, and then went to Tokenique. Maybe they go back to homeschool. I forget. My kids are out of that, but we can't regulate against school kids. In the real estate world, projects such as this, which are assisted living and senior living and whatnot, they move from the people are in the grand scheme of life. If you're at a big piece of land or a big complex, they go from, you know, independent living to assisted living to skilled nursing. You know, I think there's going to be some synergies between these two buildings, where you're going to have, you know, big apartments where people can move from their house to this building, and then maybe someday they graduate or they move on to the other building. That's why I think the synergies make sense. I also think that the traffic is not going to be super big. We did get testimony from Michael Galante saying the traffic, it's not a great intersection today. It's not going to be a great intersection tomorrow, but there's less people and less traffic generated by an apartment building for most times during peak hours than there is from an office building. I mean, I've got other comments that I can think about too, but I would like to open it up to the floor too, and let other people chime in their comments. Is it a big project? Yes, it's a big project. Is 60 units a lot? Yes, 60 units a lot. Is an 80,000 square building? Is it a big size building? Yes, it's a big size building. That's something we have to grapple with and try to figure out. So if we don't mind, I was going to say, Adam, you want to go first, sir? So give me your thoughts. You're one of the news guys in the commission, but I think you've definitely got yourself up to speed on this one and you know, did some homework. And go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so in terms of this project, you know, I share some of your concerns. Mainly, the one concern I have is obviously the size, as you just, you know, aforementioned. I am pretty happy that at least the surrounding, the Dunlop Lake people and the Selleck Woods people seem to be for this. I think that adds a lot of weight to it. I agree, the traffic situation, I don't, you know, after driving up and down that road a bunch of times at all hours of the day, I don't think it will materially impact it. And I certainly would be happy to see that office building go, especially because it's not really being utilized or adding any real value to the town. So overall, I don't have much that I have still outstanding questions about with the building. You know, I know that the architectural board looked at it and they liked how it looked as well. So I don't see a lot of pushback from the town, from other areas, you know, fire, some of the other, you know, potential issues. So I don't have much to really add or to ask of. You know, really the big thing I think is just, you know, it's a big building. And that's really the question, if that's something that, you know, do we want to size it down a little bit, or are we good with it as it is? So yeah, that'd be where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think we definitely, like I said at the beginning, we got to nail down the exact size what we're talking about.
I'll go through the record, get that information.
Okay. Jeff Ball, are you around? You want to go next, sir?
Sure thing. So like both of you, similar comments. I think the size is too big for the area. I still think that traffic is going to be a big issue going in and out at all times of the day, just for the amount. If you look at, if there's 139 parking spaces, not saying that they're all going to be occupied all the time, but I think traffic in and out is still going to be an issue. But my biggest concern is the overall size. I don't know if we're supposed to make recommendations of what we're supposed to reduce it back down to, or what we could reduce it back down to as a committee, but you know, as of right now, I think that's my only major concern is still traffic, and then the size of the building.
Great, thanks, Jeff. I mean, I think the committee does have latitude to say the number of units are there. We just have to figure out how that works.
Yeah, you know, I think once we get a sense that the entire commission, the consensus of the 5 of you, we'll start looking at section 1005. Certainly, I think there'll be another night of deliberations on the site plan special permit, but at least we can get a sense of where we're going tonight, and then continue to refine this and work on it, as I said, at the next meeting on 2 weeks from tonight, get a little more detail out of the commission members. But this gives us a flavor for where we're going.
And then you can try to figure out answers to questions that we might
Yeah,
have.
if
from
any other pending questions, the file gets thicker and thicker with various submittals. So if you need follow-up on anything or where to find things in the record, Fred and I can certainly do that and have that ready for you for the next meeting. So that tonight really gives us that opportunity as well, is to find things in the record that you want to follow up on.
By chance, did they have a 3D rendering of what the old building looked like to what the new overlay looked like one building on top of the other, just to see size difference of what it currently looks like to what it could be?
They definitely have it on 2D, which is the site plan, because
Right.
there was one where it had the footprint of one on top of the footprint of the other, because there's, I think, two walls that they're kind of sort of keeping, or 2 points are kind of sort of keeping. We can probably look at the pictures to see if there's a
Yeah, let me follow up on that, Jeff. I'm going to go through all the maps and plans and renderings we have in the file. There might have been something in one of the PowerPoint presentations.
Okay.
So that's something I can get back to you on before the next meeting, is find if it is in the file, to get it out to you in your packets next time.
Great, thank you.
Hey, Jim Rand, you want to go next? Or you want to go to George Riley next? Jim Rand, you ready?
Yeah. My principal concern about this development is execution. You had a lot of testimony from the neighbors saying that they've got, I'll call them flooding problems. That may be an overstatement, but at any rate, from one Parklands. Now, both sides had consultants to examine and think through the drainage and irrigation and so on and so forth. But the function of the consultant is not to torpedo the development. The function of the consultants is, in a sense, collaborative. In other words, the applicant puts forward a plan, the consultant looks at it and says, well, that's going to cause this, so let's do that. And they go back and forth until they come to a point where they're both in substantial agreement that the desired end is going to be achieved. Now, the abutters, the nearby residents say that they have a problem. Now, either they're lying or they're not lying. Let's assume that they're not lying. They've got a problem. Why don't they have a problem? Well, we really don't know. And when we ask the question, what can be done? The answer is, well, the CO's been issued and there's really nothing we can do. We don't have an enforcement power. Well, this is a discussion for another day, but I think the applicant and the Planning and Zoning Commission have a contract between the two of them. And I think it's enforceable. And I think we've made a mistake repeatedly by not enforcing it. That having been said, we're going to go through the same exercise, or we have been through the same exercise on the redevelopment of 3 Parklands with the consultants and the drainage and the so on and so on and so on. My concern is that there's a possibility of the same result with 3 Parklands as there is on 1 Parklands. I don't have an objection in principle to the proposed development, but I think that it should be, if it's granted, there should be something in the board's action that ensures that the developer doesn't simply put the pipes where he told our consultant, he was going to put them, but ensures that there is no problem once the project is finished. If that means he's got to put up a bond of $250,000, so be it. But we've got to have some way of ensuring that when these projects are finished, that the promised outcomes will be delivered. That maybe have gone a little far afield, in which case I apologize, but that's where I'm coming from.
No, I mean, I think your points are well taken, because I'll give you two, and I always talk from examples, right? The federal project's under construction. We got a 500-year storm or whatever it was, you know, and there's a 1.2, I think it's $1.2 million gallon tank underground. You know, that street flooded. I was there, I saw it, I looked at it, and I blew a gasket, because they put in, I don't know how much it costs, but it's a 1.2 million gallon tank. So I got on the horn, spoke to Craig Flaherty. I said, what's going on? Is that thing turned on? Is it online or not online? And he said it's online, and you know, it's worked as designed. So it was designed for a 100-year storm or whatever it was designed for, but we got a 500-year storm. Valhalla flooded, somebody else flooded, you know, and they were out of business for a while. So in that vein, the thing was worked to the way it was designed, you know, and it didn't stop the problem. I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the way that the 3 Parklands was done, which is not one Parklands, which is not a part of this application, was installed as it was designed.
I think Jim's points are good ones. Dave.
And you have the same thing, just to go back, just to finish, you also have, you know, you can stay at Palmer's. You know, we looked at Palmer's and we approved that thing 2 years ago. You know,
are there provisions that the commission, if they were to approve the project, to respond to the concerns of the neighbors during, especially what Jim's saying is especially during construction, but also certainty that whatever the commission approves is constructed pursuant and consistent with the plans. And I know the commission as designed, as Steve said. So I think the commission, if they were to lean in that direction, we would make sure that we're very specific, Jim, to your point about as-built certifications, having the engineer on site during installation of the stormwater, and as you said, a performance bond might be appropriate, again, to try to minimize the possibility of that happening again. Are there provisions the commission could take? And I think that's where you're going with this, Jim. Conditions of approval, requirements during construction, post-construction, certifications, photographs, again, getting folks out on site to minimize problems before they occur. I think that's what you're saying, Jim.
It's belts and suspenders. No, I mean, I don't disagree with you at all.
I mean, yeah, but that wouldn't address the example that Steve just gave. Okay, 1.5 million gallon, whatever the hell it was, a tank for a 100-year storm or whatever it was. The issue, and we spent night after night discussing this, is the flooding on Heiss Avenue. And they did, the consultants agreed this would do it, 100-year storm. It was built exactly as promised, and it didn't work. Whose fault is that? It's not the fault of the people who are living below 1 Parklands. It's not their fault.
No, it's not.
And that's the issue I'm trying to come to grips with.
Okay.
That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
No, that's fine. It's, you know, you were there. George Riley, what do you think, sir?
I'm happy to endorse Jim's comments. Absolutely. We need to protect the surrounding area. And while I think all of the engineers are very high quality and Most of you folks the professionals have had longer experience with them than I have. I don't think they're misleading us at all, but sometimes math doesn't work out quite the way you expect it to when you're dealing with reality. So we've got to be very careful about that. Beyond that, I do think the good news and bad news is kind of wrapped up in the size. I'm all for increasing the housing stock. I love that there would be 7 new affordable housing units. I am very concerned about 60 more units in this space. I just think that that's greater intensity of use than I'm comfortable with at the moment. I want to comment that I am very sympathetic to the folks of Fairmead. I know they had to cope with the construction of Selleck's residences and are not particularly pleased with the result. And I know they were surprised by what happened there. Hopefully they have seen that this has been a thorough discussion and they are now at least aware of what the plan is and will not be surprised at least by what happens next. And along those lines with Selleck's residences, was it Selleck's Woods or the residences at Selleck's Woods, whatever it is, those folks I'm very sympathetic to who are concerned about the construction process. And I don't blame them. It's likely to be noisy. It's likely to be dusty. It's likely to be uncomfortable for them. And some of them recognize they're in their sunset years, shall we say, and they don't really want them spoiled by that. But I don't know of a way to really avoid that, except to the extent we can mitigate it through our usual conditions that I know staff and others can put together. And I think we need to be very sensitive to that. I will confess to some surprise that the Friends of Selleck Woods are all for this. My initial reaction about all this was that we would be attracting too much attention to Selleck's Woods. And yet I gather that's what the Friends are all for. And that's, okay, we got a little dichotomy of view about that. I think we could be looking at overuse of Selleck's Woods. And I think there's the potential for trouble arising that way. And so I am concerned about that. I sometimes think about it becoming an attractive nuisance, frankly, to a lot of folks who don't know anything about it at the moment. And I know the Selleck's Woods Friends will be delighted that more people do learn, but then there will be those who learn and will take advantage of the wrong elements of it. I have some concern. I'm also skeptical of the number of students that will arise out of this development. It reminds me of Avalon, and I'm confident we got a lot more students out of Avalon than we expected, and I'm concerned that's going to happen here too. I have not decided which way I'm going to go, so I got an open mind, but those are the initial comments that I'll lay upon the table. Thanks.
Okay. What I would suggest is, and I don't know where we're going to go at this at the end of the day, but in our resolution, if it does get approved, we put in the belts and suspenders around construction times and all that stuff. I mean, I know when we did Tokenie Club, they were not allowed to work their hours of operation, and it's too bad, were very limited. I think they came back and said, can we paint the interior on weekends? Because it's quiet, and we allowed that. But I mean, I'm very, very proud of the residents at Selleck Woods. Yes, it was a rocky construction project. I think it's great today. I think the residents that live there today love it. I think some of the neighbors love the residents that live in the building. They may not love the height or the physical structure of the building, but they love it. I mean, one of the residents that testified worked there. I think we really do have to focus on the noise that the building can make during construction, and look at those noise things. That there was a lot of testimony from the neighbors that said that they were given a bill of goods when Selleck Woods went through, and now it makes more noise on Fairmead Road. You know, I've been down Filling Regrading. It's a beautiful little street, you know. We got to protect streets like that. It's a semi-private street, I think. Also the lighting, you know, we don't need this thing lit up like a candle, you know, like Darien Stadium, and make sure there's no lighting that flares down on there. And maybe we could do some more landscaping. There was testimony that said all the landscaping is on the side that blocks I-95, right? I don't think there's maybe enough landscaping that blocks, you know, the Fairmead side. Yes, I mean, I've been on Fairmead. It's the building is way up on top of a hill. You can't see the existing building today during the summer. Maybe you can see it now, dead of winter. But I think we have to focus on landscaping too. You know, so if you could start to think about some of those items.
So what we'll do is, as I said, if commission members want anything in the record in your packets for next time, we can certainly spend time sifting through the documents that were submitted to get you the document or detail you're looking for. We'll talk about it more at our meeting on the 25th, give you time to think in more detail, review the paperwork we have. But this is helpful for us as we get started on our work at the staff level. So thank you all.
Can you, on your list of stuff, can you make sure we get maybe like the executive summary of the traffic reports from Galante and from the other guy? Just a paragraph out of 2. That just, because the traffic is an issue. I mean, our biggest thing relative to the special permit item, it has to pass the traffic test. It's really, the beauty of a special permit is life safety and traffic and whatnot. It's got to pass the traffic test. And if those guys signed off on it, I want to make sure that we're all agreeing with it. I've been in agreement with Galante, I want to say 75% of the time, not 100% of the time. I'm still very nervous about Federal and Palmer's and Norotan Heights. I live there, you know.
Okay, we'll
We
get
went
that
backwards.
Excellent.
Any other final comments from anybody before we move on to the next item on the agenda? Okay, great. Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda, discussion of state required housing plan under 830G or J. Kara Gately wants to come back, so let me see if I can get her back. Please. All right, Jeremy, go ahead.
Connecticut General Statute 8-30J, J is in Jeremy, passed in 2017 through the legislature, which means 5 years to adopt an affordable housing plan, and that ironically is till 2022. Recent legislation, which was passed last year, moved the deadline for completion of the affordable housing plan up 1 month to June of 2022. So really what every community in the state of Connecticut is up against is creating and adopting an affordable housing plan. And we've discussed the best way for the town of Darien to proceed is for the Planning and Zoning Commission to be the body that really leads the charge, works on it. And we've decided to attack the plan, if you will, a 2-pronged strategy. The first prong is data collection, background, information, etc. And for that, we're using WestCOG, the Western Connecticut Council of Governments. They've created what I'll call an annex, or one might think of an appendix to a document. Basic data collection on existing housing, housing types, housing over time. It's a whole bunch of over 100 pages of good background data and information that they can provide to all their communities to assist those communities with the affordable housing plan. The second prong, as you know, former Assistant Director of Planning Dave Keating recently retired. We're very fortunate to have him stay on as a consultant. And one of the things that Monica McNally and Kate Bush and I discussed was the benefit of having Dave's local knowledge assist us with this affordable housing plan. As you know, Dave has been working in town for 38+ years. He's familiar with projects that have succeeded in Darien. He's familiar with the zoning of Darien. He's familiar with the strategies we've used that have had success. He's aware of the town's successful moratorium, which we've had. So he is a great resource for us. I'm really pleased that he was able to stay on and assist with this. And we've had discussions about really is taking the Westcog information in combination with his local knowledge and putting together a plan, working with the commission on strategies, recommendations, ideas, projects, a variety of things that the town, not only the Planning and Zoning Commission, can do to develop more housing of all types, especially affordable housing. They may be zoning related, they may not all be zoning related. Well, the third thing we've done is put together a web page.
Hey, just make one quick comment. Relative to a consultant, 90% of the time we do hire outside consultants to do these things. What another outside consultant we've used is Ben Chalder.
Planometrics. I did have numerous conversations with Glenn.
But at the end of the day, I still think Dave Kinney's a better choice.
In fact, what's interesting is with 169 communities all working on the same deadline of this June,
there's only a few consultants.
You can imagine, and there's not a lot of consultants in the state who can do this, that Glenn really got booked up. And he agreed. You know, when I spoke to Glenn, he said, you know, you got someone with local knowledge that's worked with the commission, that understands the community. It wouldn't make sense for Glenn to come in and sit down with me and Dave and regurgitate to Glenn all our thoughts and ideas. So he did say it made sense. So our goal over the next 4 or 5 months is to meet with the commission, similar tonight, in a general meeting setting, to give you thoughts, ideas, give you drafts of chapters, draft information, which will allow us to proceed, but at the same time allow the commission to understand the document we're trying to pull together. And as starters, you know, there's lots of background information out there. So I've created a web page, and I think Fred sent you the link to that. It's darient.gov/AH plan, stands for Affordable Housing Plan. And on that web page, we have the state statute, affordable housing plans from other communities, related documents that'll be helpful to the commission to look at for background, and we'll post housing data as we get it. But that'll be a resource. You know, certainly we're not going to be able to copy for you, nor would you want copies of affordable housing plans from every other community, but at least it gives you an opportunity to have a link to those all in one place that you can look at, understand the thought process of other communities. One document that I'll bring to your attention, which we posted, it's Planning for Affordability in Connecticut. And the subtitle is Affordable Housing Plan and Process Guidebook. The Connecticut Department of Housing hired a consulting group, RPA, to give communities input and feedback on how to develop an affordable housing plan. When the state legislature passed the statute in 2017, they really didn't give the communities guidance on how to develop plans. And certainly, Fred and I were on the phone the other day with the community, and they're doing it one way, we're doing it another way. So there's certainly many ways to approach this, but RPA in this guidebook talks about a suggested outline, it's suggested materials. I passed that along to Dave. We've had at least one conversation about how do we envision the Darien document being, I'll call it table of contents or outline, which is really the first step. So I wanted to use tonight as an opportunity to tell you that this is what we foresee going forward. I don't know, Dave or Fred, you have any thoughts or ideas, things I didn't cover as we move ahead with this plan. And as I said, we'll come back to you every 3 to 4 weeks with draft information, outlines, draft recommendations, draft strategies, etc. But in the interim, I'll ask the commission to go to the website.
What's the website again?
DarienCT.gov/AH plan.
Okay.
And if you have thoughts or ideas, let me know, or let Fred know, or And we'll pass the information on to Dave as he does his, I'll call it behind the scenes work to, number one, keep this moving along on schedule, but at the same time, take a local perspective, which I think is essential here. It's certainly when the legislature says they want each town to do a plan, they do not expect each plan to be the same. They do expect.
Let me give you a couple of quick items.
Sure.
The last time we did one of these plans, I think was about 11 or 12 years ago.
That's correct. The 2009 Affordable Housing Plan done by the town of Darien was 2009.
Can you stick that in everybody's packet?
I think it's on that website.
Okay. There's two things. One, relative to a plan, I mean, I've never really been a big strategic plan kind of guy. But I think I'm in the minority and most people like those things. I would like to look at the old plan and see if we enacted any of those things in the old plan today. I mean, I think what we've done over the last 20 years is fantastic. But I want to see what we did. The other item, and check that off, because in our town plan accounts development in the back, we put in that action item thing.
Right.
So that's a whole separate thing in the back that we included in there. If you go to the back of that thing, it says, you know, this is the whole plan and this is how we're going to execute it. And I think we are in the process of executing those things. The other item is, and I know we talked about this over the last year and a half. Are we going to designate sites that we think are prime for affordable housing? Because
Dave about that, I think Dave's first inclination, and certainly Dave's on the line, he can speak for himself. I think his first inclination is, at this point, probably not, because I think that it starts throwing things out of focus when you start drilling down to, hey, that specific property on that specific street would be good for affordable housing. You know, it's tough when you're in a hearing process. You hear a lot more about a property than Dave or I could know without hearing about what's going on. I think we will talk about generally, for example, that properties that have access to water and sewer might be a little easier to develop than properties that are on a well and or septic. Properties that are on a main road are better and easier and might be able to accommodate traffic better. Properties without wetlands may be easier to develop. Again, you get into all these things. Certainly, we will talk in the plan about, and Dave and I have talked about, maybe certain zoning districts could allow housing as of right that might not now, or certain zoning districts might allow it by special permit that don't now.
can you research how 5.7 AH got 3.7 AH got done? Which is 3.7 AH is the zoning district where Hollow Tree self-storage is today. The reason why it's a plus and a minus, what we're just talking about relative to designating specific sites, there's real estate implications to that. There's value implications to that. In the real estate world, and everybody knows this, and we're all sitting here together, zoning can either create value, it can do nothing, or it can diminish value. So all of a sudden, if you're going to create an affordable housing spot, say this site, bingo, on the corner of Main and 3rd should be affordable housing, either that makes the thing go up, it makes it go down, or makes the neighbors go up or down or sideways. So that's the things you have to be aware of. It's a very delicate balance. But that's why I want to go back to, somebody came up with, I don't know who came up with it, the AH 3.7.
So I don't want to go too far astray. The Hollow Tree storage site, which is I think it's 131 Hollow Tree Ridge Road, is on a 3.7 acre site. And that's been zoned for many things through the years. And I'll call it, if you will, eventually the commission came around to rezoning it for affordable housing in response, I think it was in response to a request by the applicant, but I could be wrong.
By the owner.
By the owner, rather. But what was realized is it was difficult to get a sewer line in there. Is when John Hertz and Bob Wood came to the commission to rezone it for a storage facility. Originally, I met with them and said, but it's zoned for affordable housing. It's right near the train station. It makes so much sense. And they said, yeah, but once you drill down into where's the nearest sewer line and how would we get sewer to the property, it was realized that to get a sewer line in there was not practical from a monetary
It wasn't allowed. It wasn't allowed.
Because the sewer was coming up Hollow Tree and coming down Hollow Tree, but it was tough to get it. And Avalon created their own sewer line because it had so many units. I think they came in from Stanford.
Yeah.
So they realized there was no accessible sewer line that would make residential development feasible there. And that's something that I didn't know that they found out as they kind of worked with it. So certainly, while it seemed on its face to be a logical spot, it turned out that once people drilled down with the details, that it really made more sense as a storage facility. And they were able to put 2 units there just for the security folks. So yeah, I think that's, Dave and I did discuss the fact that if you say we're going to rezone Steve's house or John's house or Ted's house, you know, that doesn't have implications. So I think we're going to look at more tools and strategies, because some of the tools and strategies like inclusionary zoning have been very successful in Darien.
But the one thing, if anybody does have an idea of a site that you think might be good, like we created this the DMR new zone to go there, and 85 alternating highways in it, and throwing down circles in it, and gives flexibility. If there's a site that somebody thinks of that is good, please let Jeremy or staff know, or myself know. You know, it can be on a confidential internal list, and there can be reasons why. I mean, Jeremy just explained it. The AH 3.7. Nobody knew about it. The only way they can get a sewer line was to jump I-95 or the railroad tracks. And the developers, because that property was on the market for sale, I think the asking price was like $9 million. There was a lot of money. They said, sure, okay, go get a sewer line from the other side of I-95 and the railroad tracks. And they went to the state and said, can I get a sewer line? And the state said no. You know, so there's reason, if you come up with an idea, it's a great idea, no one thought about it, that's great. But I don't think it needs to be like a public item that's included in something.
So I think what we're going to look at is what's worked in Darien, what successes have we had, what can we do to continue those successes, and continuing to figure out, I mean, as you said, Steve, the town has made a lot of progress over the past few years. What have we done? How have we done it? And because Dave's familiar with that, he was here on the front lines in terms of reviewing the applications, working with the commission on drafting approvals, et cetera. So when you talk about the Royal or the Heights or Avalon, Garden Homes, and then other smaller projects tucked away in nooks and crannies. But again, the purpose tonight is to alert the commission to what's going on, that we'll be returning to you every few weeks to continue the conversation. You may get draft chapters in your packets, et cetera, as we move towards this May, June deadline for adoption by the commission. So,
and just one last, I'll add 2 things. One, just make sure the record reflects that Kara Gitley did come back for this item. She is here. The minutes reflect.
I was listening, I just wasn't on camera.
Oh, no, you were. That's fine. I got it. The other thing is other towns do look towards us, and other towns like Greenwich called us and said, how'd you guys do your affordable housing trust fund? So that's one tools in our toolbox that we have. We also remember that we raised our minimum housing from 10%, which is state level, to 12%, and now it's at 14%. We raised it again. That's another thing that we've already planned for. Other towns look towards us to do that. I think Westport's at 10. But those are the kind of things that are in there that we've already done. And I guess you can, just to close this out so we can move on, is look to see how we got all these 800 units that we got over the past 20 years.
Yeah, I think that's where
because we already got them.
We're able to say, hey, here's the things we've done, the tools we have, and what can we do to use these tools and improve them, make them better, more efficient, and what other things, our ideas maybe we haven't done that other communities have been successful, and include that potentially in the plan as well.
The only other item too is we did give a pilot to Allen O'Neill, which is payment of taxes. They're the only ones that ever asked for it. I can tell you that most affluent towns do not grant pilots. The thing we don't have is zoning bonuses, FAR bonuses, which Westport's got that.
And there may be some things there to tweak the inclusionary regulations.
Yeah.
There may be things we can do with the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, which is a resource for people who maybe are doing a project that include affordable units. So
The only thing I would add, we can move on, I'm sorry, is one of our meetings, if we could just have a working meeting with Dave.
Yep.
And just all of us sit there and just brainstorm.
sure, work off a list of ideas, thoughts, concepts.
Yeah.
And that will
Because I'd love to hear from these 5 people too.
Yep.
Okay.
February, probably sometime in February, where we can sit down. In the old days, it would be around the table, but I guess around Zoom, and with a checklist or list of ideas and concepts or whatever,
Yeah.
and start kicking out round ideas.
Anything else?
That's it.
Any questions for any commissioners on this item? Cool. And Dave Keating, I did see you come in and go, whatnot. Thanks for stepping up to do this for us. We appreciate that, sir. Okay, moving on. Next item on the agenda. Deliberation possible decision on the following item, subdivision application number 630, land filling regrading application number 517, irrevocable trust for decedents of Eugene G. Bukes III, 92 Half Mile Road. This is the site that there's an existing house on it that's on the corner of Hollow Tree Ridge Road, right way up through. Put in so we had discussions back and forth relative to a fire hydrant. We found the fire hydrant. It's now there. So in our packets, we got a draft resolution of it. It's a pretty straightforward subdivision. So with that said, any questions, comments, scrivener's errors, items, typos, whatnot on this one? Environmental protection, they signed off on it. That's incorporated. Both lots are going to be the proper size. Resolved. Doug DeVesta did a good job. Maslin presented it. I didn't really see anything here that jumped off the page. I didn't say typos, whatnot. Did anybody else see anything? Nope. Kara saying no. George Riley, my 2 lawyers, they're cool. Adam's cool. Jeff Ball's giving me a thumbs up. Jim Brand. Okay. With that said, I would entertain a motion to approve as submitted. Adams makes a motion. Jim Mann rakes a second. All those in favor? 6-0. Thank you, everybody. Great job, guys. All right. Next, we have minutes. I always try to blow these things off, but tonight we're going to do them. So if we can do five sets of minutes in 15 minutes, we can get out of here by 9:30. Okay. First set of minutes, October 12th, 2021 is our first item up here. The first piece in here is a resolution, which we're not allowed to change. So we're going to skip that one. That's when we change, I think, parking ratios and whatnot. The second item here is a resolution on page 5 of 19. We can't change that either. That's another one. That was the setback requirements. After that, what do we have? The public hearing was the ableist. When we put forward to change something on ableist, that was before Thanksgiving. This meeting's before actually Halloween. That's how far back we're going. Not too much in that one. Okay, next item on here is 5 Mile River Road, the 91 5 Mile River Road application. We talked about that a lot. That's something that we already approved. I always look for my name and make sure it was spelled right when it comes to stuff like that. I'll make sure the things that I say that I really said or didn't say. The next item we have in here is land filling regrading application for 32 Plymouth. That's the Mr. D Leader's house where he puts a pool in his backyard and his big in his new pool house that's proposed. What else? A couple of general meeting items. It's a long 10 minutes. We have another EOS. That's the new guys. That's over at Good Wives. Good Wives. That's the that's in the old Huntington Learning. Opening soon. That's the EOS guy. That's their resolution. And then we're at the end of that, and it's respectfully submitted by Fred Donite. Anything in this one, anybody caught? Questions, comments, scribblers, errors, nothing? With that said, I entertain a motion to approve as submitted. Kara Gately makes the motion. Looking for a second. Jim Rand makes the second. Adam makes the third. All those in favor? Boom.
5-0.
5-0. 5 or at 6?
This lady was here, which means,
Oh, okay.
Adam wasn't.
Adam, you're allowed
You
to,
did watch it.
but so then you.
I did watch it. I'm happy to recuse myself from it if you want, but I attended the whole meeting, delayed virtually.
Cool. All right. All right, next item. Minutes from October 26th, my mother's birthday.
Yay.
I think she's like 100 now, I think.
Don't,
I think she is. I don't
Betty
know.
White, have you not learned this lesson?
She's not here anymore.
I am knocking on wood for him.
Thank you, Kara. You gotta keep me alive. Five
I will
member,
call your mother tomorrow. Apologize for it.
you can talk to her. You're better than me. Get on your.
Strong Islands, we're gonna get along.
Yep. Okay, resolution. We can't change that. The next one, another resolution for 19 Brush Island Road. We can't change that. Keep moving on. 108 Nearwater Lane, the Tweedy House. That's the subdivision. It's our first night of the subdivision item. I am in this one. The next one we have is another night of ableists. When they came here, again, we have Mr. Day Leader. We had those guys 2 nights, improved some minutes. What do we do? Then we talked about the Narrote Heights Shopping Center people. I think we changed something so they could put in. That was the first night of
hearing.
That's the first night of hearing at Palmer's. Yeah, that was the first night of hearing at Palmer's. With the Goddard School, excuse me.
Yeah.
They're moving stuff around. That went on and on. Miss Ball and Mr. Gately, Mr. Ball and Ms. Gately had about traffic concerns. I think we fixed that. We got them because of your concerns. We have to move the traffic.
Yeah, no, the ramp, that was a big,
Doing the ramp, and the ramp's not there anymore. So your concerns were listened to. We like that.
traffic study.
Questions, comments, Scrivener's errors on this one? Anything? Looking for a motion to approve. Again, Ms. Leahy was in on this one. So Adam Brand makes the motion. Looking for a second. I want to go with Kara Gately on the second because I don't know if it's legal, but okay. All those in favor? Sure.
He can vote on it.
Can he? But he wasn't a commissioner. How do you vote?
Well, I think he can, if he watched it, I don't know, that's a good, I think let's ask
Here comes the lawyer again. All right.
George.
I've run across this with the Blight Review Board. Apparently, as long as you're a member of the board or commission at the time of the vote, you can vote.
There you go. All right, Adam, you can second the next one. No, you're on this one. Sorry, man. November 16th, we're going to.
Now I'm attending.
Thank you, George.
Now you're there, baby. First special permit application. This is 7-Eleven. Wow.
7-Eleven.
Post Road 11 scared me. Oh, yeah.
And then the Gardner Center, Tweedy subdivision,
Oh, this one was easy.
and then the Northern Heights Shopping Center. Starts on page 11 and continues to go on page 18.
We need, resolution, can't change that. Okay. More stuff on the road Heights. 5 Mile River Road, that one. Pratt Island, second for that one. What's the last one? Stony Brook. Oh, this is the bridge over covered water, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that was important. Questions, comments, Scrivener's errors on this one? Nothing. Looking for a motion to approve. I think that's Adam making the motion. There he is. Yep. Adam made the motion. Looking for a second. Jeff Ball, nod your head. No,
Yeah, whatever.
no, Kara Gately. Kara Gately got that one.
Yeah, I'll second Adam.
He pointed to you.
Oh, then I'll
Right,
second it,
all in favor?
yes.
You did. You
I can't tell where the picture is. I feel like we're the Partridge Family. I don't know where we're pointing and where we're sitting.
Jeff Ball was pointing at you, I can tell you that.
Oh, he was? I can't tell with the squares everywhere. I don't know where we're pointing. I'm happy to second that.
You're Alice, and you're in the middle.
Thank you. I am.
Okay. November 30th. We got 10 more minutes left.
Are we going to vote on this now that we've had a second?
No, we did. We voted that one already. All in favor on the 16th? 6-0. Okay.
Yes.
Now we're moving on to November 30th. This is after Thanksgiving. Aquifer, this is after voting, and then we aquifer protection.
Yep.
We did that. Tweedy, all right, that's Wilder came back with the Tweedy thing. It made us change something. Special permit Sweet Central and Old Kings Highway. This is
what?
Old Kings Highway came back. That guy with that's the yoga class guy. A resolution for clean juice at 2 hours. We can't change that. Then we did another. Is that another night with regards to the Stony Brook? Yeah. Then the resolution for Stony Brook, we got that approved. Can't change that. Then we did our first night with Mr. Bucas. We talked about that. Then we did some stuff on Parklands. And went at the Parklands. These are all the minutes on Parklands for the first night. Did actually Carrie recuse herself, yeah. The land trust letter, all those, that's all the Parkland stuff that's important. And all the neighbors that spoke relative to that. And the last item is 12 Pratt Island of the, that constructor proposed the existing padding permit on that one. Questions, comments, scrivener's errors on this one?
Typo on page 14, Fred, in the 5th paragraph. Tim Henry.
At a time, Henry. Fairmead Road. Great, thank you.
Where is that? Page 14.
Middle of the page.
5th paragraph.
Mr. Tim Henry. Got it. Okay. Any other
Can I vote on this one? I don't think I can.
Since he was part of it, so that's to recuse, I guess.
You can recuse. Okay. We got one typo, so request, looking for a motion to approve as edited or amended. Jeff Ball makes a motion, looking for a second. Jim Rand makes a second. All in favor? Great. So it's 5.
Yeah, I'm just accused, not a.
You're a watcher.
Not a nay, I'm just a.
Yep. Last one, 3 minutes left. December 7th minutes. Everybody was here, right? Yeah, we're in 219, everybody's here. Short meeting.
Meeting, mostly about 12 Pratt Island.
Oh, yeah, this was what we added.
One resolution and then some. Very short.
Yep, and we had the resolution from 49 Goodwise River Road, which we can't change anyway. What's the last of Mr. Bucas? We did that. We deliberated on that one. Then 12 action, and we did.
Wait, this was the added meeting, right? Was this the meeting we added in?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Nothing on this one for me. Any questions, comments, scrivener's errors on this guy? Looking for a motion to approve as submitted. Adam's got the motion. Karen's got the second.
Sure.
All in favor?
5-0.
Jim Rand, we're gonna keep you out. Did you watch this one on TV? You weren't there.
Oh, you did.
You didn't watch on TV. 6-0.
No, we had a quorum without him.
Great.
All right, 6-0. That's approved as written. Thank you. Moving on. Other business? Any other business we have, Jeremy, today?
No.
I have no business either. I have no business. Listen to me. Next meeting. We are off next week, folks. So go away for Martin Luther King weekend. Take Friday off. There's no school on Friday. Take Monday off. And you're off on Tuesday. Our next meeting after that is going to be January 25th. We're
Tonight, we got the 6.
What's the agenda for that?
Parklands again.
Oh, so I'm confused.
Yeah, but we have 6 minor public, what I consider minor public hearing items. A couple regrading I think 3 regrading applications, sport court, tenant fit up stuff, nothing crazy. So that's the
We have
25th. and then-
Quorum, can I be out? Do we need me for like sport courts and like,
Yeah, I guess
Stop.
we'll reconvene the commission, and if we have a quorum of everyone else, we either we'll bring you in late or give you the full night off.
whatever you guys want, but
Okay, great. Thank you,
Keep you
Karen.
posted. That's it. And the only other thing that was in the packet, which is new business, you got a thing about training inside your packet. It
I
doesn't
like
go-
that.
Yeah,
But George,
you don't have to do it.
you and it would be lovely if we could do CLA, but I know on our P and Z commissioner stuff, we can't. So if you wanna, I will find some. If you wanna do at lunchtime, planning zoning CLA, I'll
All
do
right,
it.
I thought you wanted to teach me, which would be fine
I
too.
can't teach you, but
No.
like, I figure we can bring out some CLE
last-
because these ones won't count for us, but we could still do like things that are like kind of like on point and like get CLA credit.
Yeah,
That'd be fun,
one
right?
thing
Maybe
is
get some like,
I can see it.
Yeah. so I'll nag you about that.
And then the other thing, it's, do
what
you
I
remember
did.
way back when? With one item for education, I want to see if it counts for, way back when we had a guy come in here for a half an hour and talk to us about bioretention things and teach
I
us
love
about wetlands, whatnot. If we can get one of those people to come to us and give us a half an hour of continuing education, that'd be cool.
We'll see what we can do.
Thank you. Instead of us
Steve,
paying
Jeremy,
somebody.
And Fred,
300 bucks?
remember when I first came on, the guy from UConn came in and it was in town hall and he talked less about legal, regulatory and like, you know, the legal side of things and more about, you know, green walls and sort of like more of the environmental water, you know, that kind of stuff. And he was the guy from UConn and it was the most informative thing I'd ever been to in my life.
All right, cool.
Remember,
that.
you were there, Steve, and
I
we
know,
could like
I know. I
answer the
just want to
question.
adjourn. I want to adjourn before 9:30. I got a race. I got 9:28.
All right, bye. But Jeremy, remember, I have the material still, but do you remember that guy who I was talking about from UConn?
You know, I think,
And other towns came.
yeah, if we can do something remotely, via Zoom, great. If we can get them down to show up here, that would be great as
No,
well.
but Zoom would be great too, but he was so informative on stuff that like, I don't know where else a layperson serving on a commission would have learned. And he talked about case law and call text systems and environmental concerns and the sound water issues and aquifers. He talked about all of it. He was so informative.
I'll give him a call, see what he can do.
He was great.
All right, cool. Thank you, Karen. Good input. With that said,
I thought he was great.
9:29, looking for a motion to adjourn. George, Jeff Ball, and Jim Rand. All in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. 9:29.
Night, guys. What's our record?
Right.